March 15th, 2:11 a.m. Theatrum Neutralis, lobby. I can't believe it, sir. Extraterritoriality? Yes, and there is nothing we can really do about that. In the end, we didn't have enough authority to bring him to justice. I can't believe that even though we know he's the boss, we can't lay a finger on him. I know. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, sorry to skip out on you, but I've got some business to take care of. If we can't even give an evil guy like him a slap on the wrist, then what the heck were laws created for? What good are they? If the law can't help us, then I'll go as the Yatagarasu and take care of this myself. Don't you dare! Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry. That was a bit too harsh. I know how you feel, sir. We're trying to take on an ambassador after all. They did tell us earlier to get out of the theater. This is kind of their country, I guess. But I feel like I've been slapped across the face for just doing my job. What am I going to do? Should I retreat for now and formulate a better plan of attack? Come on, everyone. We can't give up yet. Okay. And what do you think about something for a second? We've never let up for even a second, and as long as we don't stop investigating, we might find the rotten treasure hidden here. She's right! Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You're right, Kay. Very well. Let us reopen the investigation and see what we find. Come on, Kay. Right behind you. Okay, then I'll go check out Babal a bit more, sir. And I have something that I need to investigate further in Alabast. Now then, before I gather any more information, I should do a bit of housekeeping. Passion Flowers data erased from my organizer. Let's do this. Ambassador Alba seemed agitated over something. I wonder why. There are two special circumstances that surround the ambassador. First, the embassy itself has extraterritorial rights. If something happens on Alabashan soil, we are unable to legally prosecute them. Cool. Sounds like embassies are the perfect place to steal whatever you want. And Murder Demas 2 run a smuggling operation and make counterfeit bills, apparently. But I thought all the counterfeiting was done by Mr. Cochin and Babal. Yes, he apparently used the embassy's coupon printing press to do it. But it's the same story over there anyway. Babal also has extraterritorial rights. Which brings me to my next point. The ambassador's extraterritorial rights. Those rights are effective even in our own country. Really? No matter what happens, he can never be tried in our courts. He retains some very special rights indeed. Basically, no matter what wrongs he may commit, we can't bring him to trial here. So I guess we really don't stand a chance, do we? We might stand a chance if we can somehow nullify either one of his special rights. You're right. You're absolutely right. This was taken just before the two ambassadors gave their bouquets to the Steel Samurai. Wait, is it just my imagination? Or is there something in this picture that I've seen before? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Now, here. It appears to be a bouquet of Persian cyclamens and roses. Wow, you even know the exact species? I never would have figured you for an expert on flowers. It's all because of those flowers that old lady sends me every month. Just look at me. I sound like some sort of botanist. So, what exactly is this yellow flower here? That one? I'm not sure. What? You don't know? As far as I can recall, I've never seen a flower like this before. But I feel as though I've seen this shape somewhere before. You did. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Yeah, there is something. This pick. Wait. I think I know. The Alabastian knife.
Eureka!
Babal's national symbol is the butterfly, and Alabas is the flower. It would appear that someone is employing the old hire tree in a forest trick. What are you mumbling to yourself about? Wait, what? The handle on this knife. Ah! Yes. It's the handle that was supposed to be on the blade that killed Mr. Cochin. The weapon that killed him was carried through the Theatrum Neutralis, in the very bouquet Ambassador Alba was carrying. The flower motif. It looks like one of the flower petals is missing. Ooh, and take a look at the weapon itself. It's missing the exact same petal. Then the knife in this photo is most definitely the same as this murder weapon. Logic time. Time to commit this. Counterfeiting up with the renovations. We know that the counterfeit bills were printed using the embassy's press. But the necessary materials, such as the Bobbley's ink and paper, must have been hidden in a secure location. But what do you think would have happened if the renovation had begun? Well, he probably had to find a better hiding place or get rid of it all. Right, so we can assume that the renovation was the cause of the plate and bills disposal. And the reason Mr. Cochin was killed as the ringleader of the smuggling operation. Based on what we know, who do you think was the one with the most to gain? Quercus Alba. It's the one person who has been erasing all evidence of the smuggling operation. From both embassies, the co-conspirator who was mopping up, Quercus Alba. Ambassador Alba had a very strong motive to kill Mr. Cochin. And now, we'll piece them together. Let's do it. The cause of Ambassador Alba's agitation, the rotten treasure we may find, and the motive for killing Mr. Cochin. Miss Yu said it herself that she didn't kill anyone tonight. If we were to take her words at face value, then the reason for the ambassador's nervousness can only be one thing. He didn't want us to discover the real circumstances under which Mr. Cochin was killed. Then you mean Ambassador Alba is the real killer? But I thought the two of them were friends. Maybe they were. What if Mr. Cochin was the one who first betrayed their friendship? Oh, I get it. Wasn't Mr. Cochin pushing really hard for Mr. Pelliano to be ambassador after the reunification? Yes, and that was the real reason why he wanted to steal Alabas' primitive statue. So Mr. Cochin hired the masked two to go steal from him. But when Ambassador Alba found out what he was up to, he killed Mr. Cochin? It is definitely a possibility at this point. Those two really were thinking of no one but themselves. But the question now is, how did he do it? Ambassador Alba was in Alabas, but Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babal, right? Right, and that is what we must solve next. I believe we now understand why Ambassador Alba was so nervous and agitated. It must have something to do with where Mr. Cochin was killed. A place where the Alabastian ambassador was likely to meet the Babalese Mr. Cochin. The place where Ambassador Alba happened to have commit the murder is in the Theatrum Neutralis. The only place that makes sense is here, at the Theatrum Neutralis. What? Here? The Goodwill event was being held here today, correct? So the only place that the both of them would have been in is here. But if that's the case, then everything changes. This theater isn't actually Alabastian land, so that wipes out one of those extraterritorial rights he has. It makes logical sense, in which case it is a reason for us to investigate further. So what should we check out? Let's see. I believe we should check the immigration records for both Alabast and Babal, post-haste. Babal's records should be easy to obtain, however the problem will be Alabast. I wonder if they would allow us to see their records despite the order to vacate.
Objection!
Sup, Franny? I'm already one step ahead of you. Miles Edgeworth. Franziska. I have here the security footage from both Alabast and Babal. You would do well to take a look at its contents. You move fast. Upon Karma strives to be perfect in every way. It's not in my nature to keep on retreating like this. I took the liberty of looking over the Babal investigation reports as well. From now on, you will make no excuse to back down or say that we can't solve this case. I'm sorry about earlier. We won't be beaten, because my cute little subordinate's gonna try his very best, isn't he? Hasn't she patronized me enough already for a lifetime? So this video contains footage from Alabast's immigration screening area. I really hope there's something in here that we can use. Which minute's footage should I examine? 5:23 p.m. And examine the pushcart. Doesn't something about this lump shape strike you as odd? Huh? Isn't it supposed to be this shape? No, there's clearly something odd about the bulge. If only we have the pushcart itself, we can compare and confirm my hunch. Next, let us check the footage from Babal's security camera. I hope it shows us something good. Phooey! There wasn't a single sign of a suspicious person or anything. That right there is the contradiction. Huh? Did I miss something? You didn't miss anything, because there was nothing to miss. However, what is missing is the image of Mr. Cochin entering his own country. But wasn't his body found in Babal? It would appear that the true face of our final puzzle has finally revealed itself. Investigation complete. Ambassador Alba. I thought I had asked for you and your group to vacate the premises, Mr. Edgeworth. Actually, I thought I should let you know that this theater sits on my country's soil. You've had your fun, and I've enjoyed our little game. I dare say that you've even achieved a new high score. However, once you've recorded a score, that same game can never be replayed again. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Your game is done, and it's game over. No.
Objection!
Where do you think you're going at this time of night? After admitting to my crime, I was overcome with regret. So I am heading to the airport now to return home. I'm afraid I can't let you do that. There are still too many issues we need to discuss with you. You can't stop me, Mr. Edgeworth, and you know it! Please, may I have a little bit of your time, Ambassador Alba? Ambassador Paleano? Even just a teeny tiny bit is fine with me. The already strained relationship between our countries is in a precarious situation, you know. Very well. If you insist, I will play just one more round with them and see what they want. Not that they'll get any farther. Ambassador Paleano, Mr. Edgeworth, all I wish for is the normalization of relationships between our two countries. But there is one person standing in the way of that dream. I believe in you. You'll do what's right. Thank you for your vote of confidence. Now then, what was it you wanted to ask me about? I do have a flight to catch after all, so I'm afraid I'm gonna have to limit you to just one question. That's more than enough because I only have one question anyway. I want to hear your alibi about how you couldn't have killed Mr. Manny Cochin. Huh, I see. You seem to have a good hand this time around. This should be fun. This really is the very last chance we have to bring him down. I won't allow even an atom-sized contradiction to slip by. Ambassador Alba's alibi. Frankly, I still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion here. Under your hypothetical scenario, Mr. Cochin and I were fellow smugglers. But to get to the point, I was in Alabas the whole time. It's simply not possible for me to have killed him in Babal. That is my alibi. So that is your alibi? That is correct. It's simply not possible for me to have committed a crime in Babal. Now that we've cleared that up, I'd appreciate it if you would move out of my way.
Hold it!
I said, hold it. What is it this time? I thought I told you I'd only allow one question. You did. But you still have yet to really answer my one question. What? Until you tell us the truth, I will refuse to budge an inch from where I'm standing. Very well. I'll play with you just a little longer. Miles Edgeworth, as my subordinate and representative of this country's prosecutors, you are forbidden to lose. Of course, that is something I've understood from the start. That guy's the one who ordered my father killed, isn't he? Yes, I believe so. The goal of the first Yatagarasu was the capture of the smuggling ring's leader. My father and Uncle Bab. Their legacy will live on through me. So that's why we've just got to catch him, okay? We will. I promise. Now, Ambassador Alba, let's have the truth now, shall we? No matter how many times you ask, my answer remains the same. No matter how many times, huh? Let's find out. Frankly, I still don't understand why I'm being placed under suspicion. Under your hypothetical scenario, Mr. Coach and I were fellow smugglers. It's not a hypothesis. Earlier, we proved it to be what happened. Well, let's leave that to one side for now, because it doesn't change the fact that I have no motive. Oh? So you really had no reason to kill Mr. Cochin? If you want to suppose I had one, then why not? I'll indulge you. After all, this is nothing more than a silly game to me. Even if that's how you see things, I appreciate it if you would take me seriously. I'm sorry, I suppose you are in a bit of a pickle. Very well, a game is no fun if the playing field isn't level. Therefore, I formally claim that I had no motive to kill. Now let's see you disprove it. How can he stand there looking proud when he knows he killed another human being? Well, I'm not going to stand by and just watch him get away with his crimes. In that case, what motive would I have to kill my co-conspirator? Actually, there is something. Something that I think you'd have no idea about.
Objection!
If you want to know, I believe you did have a motive to kill. It was because Mr. Cochin had betrayed you. But you had your own reason, too. Namely, you wanted to pin the smuggling all on him. Evil begets evil, and because you were trying to test each other, it turned into this mess.
Objection!
I don't believe this. You have a bad penchant for telling tall tales, Mr. Prosecutor. And if you're not, then I suppose you have some proof to support your argument. I never use guesswork in moving my cases forward. It has been proven that this note was written by Mr. Cochin's hand. Shall we take a look at it? The content of the note is a request calling for the theft of Alabas Primitus statue. By killing him and pushing all the guilt for the smuggling onto him, you walk away spotless. I believe you understand what I'm driving at. You had more than a few reasons to kill him.
Objection!
Are you finished with your hypothesizing? Excuse me? Let's suppose I did have a motive. Even so, a motive or a thought alone can't kill. Isn't that right? I didn't expect him to resort to playing the semantics game with me. It appears that this is where the real battle will begin. Now then, if you will excuse me... Wait. What? I told you at the very beginning, didn't I? You only get one question. Arrgh! Ambassador Alba, if you could please give us just a little bit more of your time. It doesn't matter what kind of man he was. He was my subordinate. Which is why I would like for us to figure out the real cause of his death. That is something for Babal to figure out and something to which I have no relation to. Now he's even turning down a request from Ambassador Palano. I'm very sorry, but it seems that now even my voice falls on deaf ears. There is no need for you to apologize, Ambassador Paliano. We must find some way to stop him from leaving. It seems there are no further objections. In that case, please allow me to return home. Hold it! Hold it right there, Ambassador Alba! Kay! Like I said, Mr. Edgeworth, the Yatagarasu's legacy will live on through me. Yes, but how do you suggest we stop him from leaving? You just leave that to me. Ambassador Alba, do you recognize this? No, and why should I recognize that tattered old organizer? Wait, where have I seen that before? That is a clue my father, Bern Faraday, left for us. Did you say Bern Faraday? Mr. Faraday's organizer. Don't tell me this is one from the second KG-8 incident. The one in which he wrote about the Yatagarasu's key? Yes. This organizer belonged to the prosecutor you had Miss Yu killed 7 years ago. I have no idea what you're talking about. You say that like it was related to me. Inside this organizer, he wrote up every detail of every evil thing you did. What an amusing little girl you are. But that sort of trickery won't work on me. If you won't believe me, then take a look at this. And what is that toy there? That's... This thievery device was used by the Yatagarasu. Or rather, my father. 7 years ago, he used this when he snuck into this embassy. What? These two pieces of evidence that hold information the Yatagarasu dug up on you. If you go home now, I won't hesitate to send it all to Alabast right behind you. Little girl, get to the point. I want you to go up against Mr. Edgeworth one more time. If you win, then I'll hand over these two pieces of evidence. Yatagarasu. Ever the thorn in my side. Kay, does that organizer really contain any information on his dirty dealings? It's nothing case-breaking, really. Ah, then it was just a bluff. Even if it was, we still can't let all the info my father and Uncle Bat found go to waste. Plus, just the existence of Little Thief is troublesome enough for him. Those two pieces, aren't they keepsakes of your father? It's okay. I believe in Mr. Edgeworth. He'll come out on top in the end. Kay. When the going gets tough, someone's got to be there to put the wind back in your sails. After all this time, you're still quite the feisty one. I applaud your powerful nature. I refuse to lose this too. Ambassador Alba, you won't be returning home until you give us further testimony. How dare you all, barring a person like me. Ambassador Alba, your testimony if you please. Alright, but this is the absolute last. Then, even if you use all the power of Ambassador Paliano's office, you won't stop me. I can't let this opportunity Kay has created for me go to waste. Alba's Alibi, Part 2. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. After that, I was in Alabast the rest of the time, as I stated earlier. In any case, I did not see Mr. Cochin again after that. So you see, there is no time span in which I could have killed him. Wouldn't you agree? Now, since you people were practically begging, I'll allow you to question me. What an arrogant old man. Yes, but no matter. We can't allow this chance to escape us. I will warn you, though, you've reached the end of my patience. Waste my time with any inane questions and you will be punished. So any needless pressing or presenting will hurt our case? In that case, the only thing you can do is present the correct evidence. Understood? Of course. I don't intend to let him intimidate me. I know Mr. Cochin was killed before you returned to Babao. In which case, there is only one statement in which I need to present the evidence. And let's make that one statement count. The last time I met with Mr. Cochin was here at the Theatrum Neutralis. Third, You are so full of crap. I'd like you to take a look at this picture. It's a rather nice picture, isn't it? It was to commemorate the restoration of relations between our nations. Oh, it's commemorative, all right. One that captures the proof I need to show that it was you who committed the murder. Come again? This is the knife that killed Mr. Cochin. I see you recognize it as well you should, for it was you who brought it to this theater. You hid it in among the flowers you were to give to the Steel Samurai, meaning that you killed Manny Cochin here at the theater. It's time for me to catch my flight.
Objection!
We're not through yet.
Objection!
It's game over for you, Mr. Edgeworth. But I thank you for the entertainment. No matter how passionately you orate, the end result will still be the same. I won't be returning to this country ever again. That's right. This man is an ambassador, and he has extraterritorial rights. No matter how hard we chase after him, we won't be able to have him tried in court. Yes, that's exactly the face you should be making. The face of a worthless cur. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, I must bid you farewell. The courts. Is there no one who can lay a finger on this man? Is this really the end? Agent Lang! Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Prosecutor. Get out of my way. My plane is scheduled to take off soon. Sorry, but you're not going anywhere, Mr. Alba. I'm through playing games with you people. You can't touch me. If you do, it would spark an international incident, Agent Lang. Sorry, but no, it wouldn't. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. Good job holding the fort down here until I got back. So, Mr. Alba, your diplomatic immunity has just been revoked. What do you mean, revoked? Spare me this nonsense and let me through. MegamanNG says, before aiming for the throat, chew the neck shield off first. Interpol headquarters in the Imperial household of the Kingdom of Alabast took a while to get things rolling, but they finally moved on from it. The Imperial household? You! What have you done? You have been relieved of your duties as ambassador, Mr. Alba. What? Effective today, effective right now. And you have Mr. Prosecutor's videotape to thank for this. The video the Yamakurasu protected? You can't be arrested simply because you're an ambassador? In that case, I thought I'd strip you of that title. You underestimated me, a descendant of the founder of detainment philosophy, MegamanNG. 4,000 years of deeply entrenched connections and networks around the world have really paid off. It can't be! I don't believe this! My ambassadorship has been revoked! Looks like you're finally coming to grips with your new standard. Woohoo! Looks like he's turned docile again. He's probably in shock from the loss of his shield. What a shame. I had so wanted to use my whip on him. Why is this happening to me? I'm just a hard-working, honest ambassador! Do you really think you can still pull that on us now? We've already ripped away the mask and seen you for who you really are, Mr. Alba.
Objection!
No, I won't be stopped now. He still intends to fight us? So what if I am no longer an ambassador? You still don't have any evidence on me. The fact remains that you cannot arrest me. I expected no less from you, the boss of the smuggling ring. Well, the rest is up to you, Mr. Prosecutor. Understood. You say that I killed Mr. Cochin in the theater, but even if that is true, that there was a knife in my bouquet, I left that bouquet in the theater, so anyone could have taken it out from there and used it, right? Besides, the claim that he was killed here itself is odd. After all, wasn't his body discovered in Babal? Are you claiming that I carried his body all the way over there? Preposterous!
Objection!
I'll be the one to prove whether it's preposterous or not. Ex-Ambassador Alba, are you ready? Because this is no game. This is war. Alba's Alibi, Part 3. I killed Mr. Cochin in this theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babao, right? There is no way for me to have transported the body from the theater to Babao. Look, don't you think you've had enough fun with me? You've already stolen my ambassadorship from me. Would you have me surrender too? You have no plans to ever return to this country, isn't that right? Did you know that a bunch of your subordinates are seeking asylum because of you? As if I care. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, boot this guy out of the embassy and we can finally end everything. I know, and I will give it my all to see that he leaves in handcuffs. Without the title of ambassador, he is just another witness. Yes, just another witness. All right, what are we waiting for? Let's get this guy! And get him good. I wonder if they understand that all I can do is present evidence to the testimony. He's persistent, I'll give it that much. I killed Mr. Cochin in the theater using a knife that was stuck in my bouquet. I left that bouquet in the theater. Anyone could have taken the knife from there. Besides, Mr. Cochin's body was discovered in Babao, right? There is no way for me to have transported his body from the theater to Babao. Actually, there is. This thing. Actually, I do believe there was a way to transport the body out of the theater. Perhaps you should give this a look. What is that supposed to be? It's footage from a security camera that captured the state of the immigration area. Should I congratulate you on getting your hands on it? Just letting you know that we're not the only ones watching your every move. Thank you for the warning. Now, if you could take a good look at this section here. This lump here inside the push cart. Do you know what's causing it? Should I? Because I don't. In that case, allow me to enlighten you. This is the cause of the unnatural lump under the cloth in the push cart. We present the notes on Cochin's body. What is the meaning of showing me that? It's to say that the unnatural bulge in the pushcart is Mr. Cochin's body. You have a steel samurai wheel his body away from the real crime scene. What a guess. But I wonder if you have any evidence to support it. I admit that for now it is but a hypothesis. However, if you can't prove it, then I'm afraid I must be on my way. I don't have any more time to play with you people. Sorry it took so long, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Gummy? Detective Gumshoe, is that the Steel Samurai's pushcart? Yes, sir. I found it in the open-air stage area. So that's where you are. The detective spirit that Pops left me with? I thought I'd follow my gut and go with it, sir. So, Mr. Edgeworth, is this worth anything to the case? Yes. It just might play a major role in solving this case, Detective. But something isn't right. I thought that the entire samurai family was in Alabast. Where exactly in the open-air stage area did you find this pushcart? I found it just lying there at the edge of the stage, sir. Oh. Well, let's leave that for now and examine the inside, Detective. Yes, sir. Bloodstain. It's blood. This must be Mr. Cochin's blood. Which only goes to prove that Mr. Cochin's body was indeed transported by this pushcart. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Cochin at this theater, and then placed his body inside the pushcart. And then, you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you. Objection! I forced him to move the body into Alabast? What nonsense! Why would I bother to do such a thing? Objection! You were scheduled to make a speech in Alabast, meaning it was difficult for you to make a stop in Babao. However, what if you moved the body to Alabast? Because it was your embassy, you can keep an eye on it and tamper with the evidence. And then you smuggle it out of Alabast. No! If I can show how you moved the body from Alabast to Babao, then I win. But you can't! The security between the two countries is incredibly tight. I'll be the one to judge whether I can or cannot prove it. And so I ask you to provide us with testimony regarding your movements after your return to Alabast. Grr. Miles Edgeworth, have you figured it out? Do you know how the body was moved? To be honest, I have nothing to support my hypothesis at this time. However, I don't believe I've made a mistake in my logic up to this point. Which means there is no question that can't be answered, right? The primitive statue was smuggled successfully through a brief flight through the air. So why shouldn't there be an answer as to how the body was moved? Which means that there must be a logic flaw somewhere I can exploit. Here we go. Movements in Alabast. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai shaking hands. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared. I feared for the national treasures, so I raced back to my office. Is that all? Yes, that's all.
Objection!
It looks like you left out a few things, such as the murder of Damas too. Furthermore, you left out the part about meeting with me in your office. Ah, those trifling matters. I don't believe I need to speak of those things again. I do so hate to waste time. What? You. Is not every life precious? Do you really need me to answer that? Objection! People like you cannot be allowed to wander freely through society. Then you better try hard, because I doubt you'll find a single contradiction. He's really full of himself, isn't he? Yes, he is. How can he be so confident at a time like this? Come, don't be shy. Go ahead and ask whatever you'd like. This guy's gonna be one tough nut to crack. After I returned to Alabast, I had my picture taken with the Steel Samurai shaking hands. So why was it only with the Steel Samurai? I thought the Pink Princess was also around. The Pink Princess was suffering from a bad hip at the time, and the doctors recommended that she rest. Wow, so you do have a soft side after all. The pain of a bad hip. I suppose none of you can really understand how it feels. Oh, so you tend to strain your back as well, huh? But isn't that just because you're normally all hunched over? He did need to keep up the act no matter what, I suppose. The point of this is not to discuss my back problems. For about 15 minutes after our handshake, I was in my office preparing for the speech. Then, just as I was about to start my speech, the Yatagarasu appeared. That Yatagarasu was just a trick that you had set up. A most amusing joke, and how do you propose that I set it up? If you really want to know, I can explain it in detail for you. You arranged the spotlights in the Rose Garden so that when you were to take the stage, the audience would see the Yatagarasu's shadow. Oh, That is an interesting tale. Sadly, it has nothing to do with me.
You! What's it gonna take for you to fess up to anything?
Very well then, let's move on to a different question. After the Yatagarasu appeared, what was the state of the Rose Garden? Everyone took refuge inside the embassy. I even helped with the effort. And then once everyone was inside, well, I feared for the national treasure, so I raced back to my office. And what happened after you returned to your office? I don't want to keep on repeating this, however. Upon my return, I had that stroke of bad luck and bumped into Mask.
Objection!
And I don't want to keep on repeating this either. But his name was Damas too. Who cares what he was called? By the time he got to the primitive statue that he was supposed to steal, it had already been swapped for the fake. Talk about an unlucky man, being bludgeoned to death with a fake statue. Miss Von Karma's really letting her whip fly now. I think the scary part is her silence while she's doing it. She must be at the limit of her patience as well. But physical attacks are meaningless here. Only evidence will suffice.
I can't find a single flaw in his argument.
At this rate, I won't be able to prove that he is actually guilty of anything. Are we finished here? Miles Edgeworth, can you not come up with how the body was moved to Babal?
Sir!
Mr. Edgeworth!
Even after proving so much, is he going to get away with it? Is this the end? It appears that we made it just in time. It would be a great honor if you would allow us to be your allies in battle.
Evil magistrate, it is time for you to pay. It's the Steel Samurai!
No, you are mistaken. For I am Steel Samurai Daddy, married man of New Old Tokyo. And this is Pink Princess Mommy.
Edgy Poo! The two people that I wanted to see the least.
Larry! What are you two doing here? Way to show your gratitude, Edgy. We just wanted to help.
Yeesh. I'm gonna get the bad guy with a single thrust of my samurai spear.
Go away!
How can you be so mean to us, Edgy Poo? All three of us came to lend a hand, and this is how you treat us? Well, isn't this grand? And I see they managed to find the Iron Infant.
Does that really matter right now?
Hey, is it just me or is the Iron Infant completely soaked?
Oh yeah, I found him in Babal, but he was in the middle of the pool. Wait a second. Larry, go back to what you just said. Huh? Oh, it appears that we made it not that far back.
Something about fighting the Iron Infant in Babal. And he found it in a pool?
I don't recall there being one in Babal.
Oh, that! Well, I was in Alabas the whole time. So I have no idea how the Iron Infant wound up in Babal. I thought I had lost him in the Rose Garden. But I guess maybe this cute kid can swim, huh?
Wait, what?
Larry, you lost the Iron Infant in the Rose Garden? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I found him in...
Hold it!
That's enough, Larry. The Iron Infant that Larry lost managed to move between the two countries. Furthermore, the Iron Infant was found soaked in the middle of a pool. This is what I've been looking for. It's another smuggling route between the countries. The key to the route the Iron Infant took to travel from Alabas to Babal is bilateral symmetry. Ah, that's right. This embassy was built with bilateral symmetry in mind. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
There is a location I wish for you to examine post-haste. It is where I believe the route used to smuggle Mr. Cochin's body lies.
Does something like that really exist, sir?
An embassy built on bilateral symmetry, meaning that this is where we need to examine. Right? Here.
Take that! Yes, sir. I'll be back before you know it. It's too late. It doesn't matter now what you do. It's all a waste of time. You will stay here with us and wait. This is Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, it's here, sir. There is a reservoir here just like in the Rose Garden.
Just as I suspected. What is it? The two sides of this embassy are mirror images of each other, which means that there is also a pool at the corresponding location on the Babali side. Mr. Cochin's body was moved into Babal through the pool in Alabaster.
Avoiding the topic with a vague answer like that is unbecoming of a prosecutor.
If you don't mind, I'd like to see more physical proof if you have any. The Iron Infant is positively soaked in water. Why do you think that is? It's because he was fished out of a pool and not just any pool. It was the Babalese one. I think it's pretty obvious at this point what must be true. The water reservoirs in the two courtyards are connected.
Objection! And where is your proof that the two sides are connected?
Objection!
The proof is right there before your eyes. The half-drowned Iron Infant. What? This blasted doll! Mr. Edgeworth, I'm back! Hey! Don't tell me you guys figured everything out without me.
We did, thanks to this hero of justice's son. Even if he is just a doll, he managed to help foil the villain.
Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, look, I don't want to say this, but it's kind of unlikely that the body just happened to have passed on through the Babal. This guy's a doll and he's small, so I can believe he made it, but
he has a point. Yes, that's right. I'm glad someone here understands. Mr. Edgeworth, are you going to next propose that a dead body can swim through a pipe?
You see, Mr. Prosecutor, our chase after this man is far from over. Agent Lang.
Why is he helping Mr. Alba out now? He's not. He realized the flaw in my argument and is helping to move the logical one. In which case, I should return the favor and find an answer.
And another thing, Mr. Cochin's body was found in his office in Babal. So what happened to his body after it was transported to the open-air stage?
Mr. Alba had an accomplice in Babal, remember?
You mean Sheena, right?
With her there, you can see how it was possible to move the body up to the office.
Are you seriously claiming that she swam through the connecting pipe with the body?
He's right. Miss Sheena would drown if she did that. It's hard to imagine that she swam through the connecting pipe.
It looks like your hypothesis about how the body was moved is still only half-baked.
In the end, it's all just the befuddled musings of an accusatory man.
Now then, I believe you should give up and allow me passage. Because from the start, there was no feasible method of transporting the body.
What?
Mr. Prosecutor, recall Sheena's movements.
What was happening in the embassy around the time Miss Sheena was in Babal?
Ooh, if only there was a way to get rid of the water in the pool.
Get rid of the water?
Aha! That's it! Now I believe this time we really are done, right?
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, it's far from over, Mr. Alba. You are a most persistent man. Are you saying that you've thought of a way to move the body through the water?
Move the body through the water? That is completely unrelated to how it was done.
Excuse me?
The reason I say that is because there wasn't any water there at the time.
What do you mean there wasn't any water?
Just what it sounds like. Tonight's events made it possible to drain the water, allowing the body to be moved.
Simple. The fire's in Babao. Tonight, the Yatagarasu set fire to a variety of locations in the Babalese embassy. In order to put the fires out, much of the reservoir's water was used. Of course, when the water was used, the reservoir's water level went down. If enough water was drained, the connecting pipe could be used to traverse the border. So what? The water level went down? The reservoirs were connected? Does any of this matter? You can't prove any of this! Actually, he can. Pretending to be ignorant won't work with me. We both know what kind of situation we're in right now. Even in a game, there comes a critical game-changing moment. A moment in which you hit a wall that you must overcome in order to beat the game. I haven't lost yet. I found the route you used to smuggle the body, and that route will lead to your defeat.
Not so fast.
Even if all the water was used by the firefighting effort, you still can't really call that a smuggling route. I know that. I should have figured that you would notice. Hey, Mr. Alba, how deep are those pools anyway? I'll have you know these pools are extremely deep, and there are no ladders or footholds along the walls either. It would be difficult for Sheena to hold the body and climb up out of the pool. Ladders or footholds along the walls? There was no need for such things. What do you mean? If one were to use a certain something, they could go up or down in the pool at will. Oh, it looks like you've got an answer already? Well, what are you waiting for, Mr. Prosecutor? Enlighten us already. The way in which Miss Sheena and the body were able to rise up to ground level. If there was a way to control the water level, that could be the way the body was moved. This was used so that the body of Miss Sheena could move up and down in the pool. Simple. The fountain spouts. Mr. Alba used the fountain spouts, in a matter of speaking. He used the fountain spouts? How so? The water level in the pools can be controlled by opening and closing the spouts. Miss Sheena and the body were lifted upward by the buoyancy in water. The fire on the Babalese side and the firefighting effort, these were set in motion all for the sake of smuggling Mr. Cochin's body. Grrr. Shall I show you where the final destination of my train of logic leads? First, Mr. Alba closed the fountain spouts in advance in preparation of things to come. Then he took the pushcart that was brought to the Rose Garden and pushed it along with the Iron Infant and Mr. Cochin's body into the pool. At this time, Miss Sheena was busy conveniently starting the first fire in Babao. She then made for the open-air stage pool to wait for the firefighting effort to begin. When the firefighters used the water in that pool, the water level went down. And by the time the fire was put out, the pipe between the two pools was exposed. This is when she pushed the pushcart from Alabas into Babao. Once that was accomplished, Mr. Alba simply opened the fountain spouts once more. And the water level rose up to its original level, along with Miss Sheena and the body. After that, Miss Sheena used the pushcart to carry the body up to the Secretariat's office. There is an elevator in the embassy, after all. So you see, even with a small frame, she could have easily transported Mr. Cochin's body. And that wraps up my thorough explanation of how the body was moved. Well, ex-Ambassador Alba, what do you think? Not so untouchable without your precious extraterritorial rights to protect you, are you?
I knew you could do it, Mr. Edgeworth. Way to fight back.
You accuse me of moving the body across country lines, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, you don't have what it takes to indict me.
The nitty-gritty? What does the old man want now?
Proof, I believe, is what he seeks. Yes, proof. Without any, who's to say whether or not any of what you said really happened?
He wants proof? What are we gonna do, Mr. Edgeworth?
There is no need to worry. I've had all the proof we need all along. The body wasn't the only thing to go through the pool's connecting pipe tonight. Just as Detective Gumshoe found the pushcart to the open stage area, so too did I find one other item there. And that piece of evidence was what will prove that the pools were the smuggling route. This was another thing that was smuggled over to Babal's open-air stage area. This pick.
Take that!
And what exactly is this? You have no idea, do you? This little piece that I found on the Babali's side will be your undoing. A guitar pick? Would you care to explain how that is going to do me in, as it were? Much to your chagrin, perhaps, but this is not a guitar pick. What? This is something I found on the open-air stage which was transported with the body. I naturally assumed that you would recognize it, since you took a photo with it after all. But since you don't, allow me to show you what this fragment from the stage area belongs to. The Alabastian knife.
Take that!
Let us take a good look at the murder weapon that was used to kill Manny Cochin. On the handle of this knife, there is a beautifully blooming flower. However, it would appear that it's missing a single petal. Now, let's see what happens when we try to fit this pick in that open slot. It's a perfect fit! I assume that the petal must have fallen off of the flower during Mr. Cochin's murder. And then it was accidentally placed into the pushcart along with Mr. Cochin's body. That's an interesting story. Nothing more. Oh, I assure you it's more than just a story. Because for some odd reason, this flower petal was wet when I found it. It was wet, you say? Yes, and the only place it could have gone wet from is the open-air stage's pool. Now I ask you, how did a part of the weapon which was smuggled into the theater wind up in the open-air stage area on the Babali's side of the embassy? I don't think I need to waste any words explaining this, as this petal explains it all for me. It proves that someone went from the Rose Garden's pool on through into Babal. Impossible! The people of Shank 5 have been waiting to see you, face to face, Mr. Alba. I'll tell everyone back home we'll be there soon. You should be happy. Why? Why? It's a little late to be asking that question. You should have known from the very beginning, when you took your first life. No matter how you may plot or how you may try to cover it all up, you can never hide from your crime and what you've done. Because we're here to see to it that justice is served to people like you. You can't call what you've given a perfect argument.
You know, I don't think this guy's going to ever admit to his wrongdoings, Mr. Edgeworth, because he values himself above all else. People who can't be negotiated with, or people who refuse to admit when they've lost. I don't believe those kinds of people really exist because everyone breaks eventually. You're right. In that case, I have no choice but to use all the evidence I have. I'll use it all until he breaks under the weight of his crimes. Mr. Alba, I request that you testify once more.
This really will be the end of the line. That's right. It really is the end of the line. And next time is the final episode. I will see you in the conclusion. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell. Time to see this through to its end. This is MegamanNG signing off. Peace out. Product provided by CAPCOM.